Good evening. Thank you so much for joining me tonight for Wednesday Word. I just want to talk with you briefly about the conversation that led up to Jesus being crucified. Last week was Holy Week. I went into that, but I really wanted to delve a little bit into the conversations that Jesus had that angered the Pharisees so much that they would plot against him. So here I am in John, the 8th chapter, verses 12 through 20. 12 says, "When Jesus spoke again to the people, he said, 'I am the light of the world. Whoever follows me will never walk in darkness, but will have the light of life.' 13, the Pharisees challenged him. 'Here you are, appearing as your own witness. Your testimony is not valid.' 14, Jesus answered, 'Even if I testify on my own behalf, my testimony is valid. For I know where I came from and where I am going, but you have no idea where I came from or where I am going.' 15, you judge by human standards. I pass judgment on no one. 16, but if I do judge, my decisions are true because I am not alone. I stand with the Father who sent me. 17, in your own law, it is written that the testimony of two witnesses is true. 18, I am one who testifies for myself. My other witness is my Father who sent me. 19, then they asked him, who is your father? 'You do not know me or my Father,' Jesus replied. 'If you knew me, you would know my Father also.' 20. He spoke these words while teaching in the temple courts near the place where the offerings were put. Yet no one seized him because his hour had not yet come." So then we want to look down here as, let me move to 25. "Who are you?" they asked. "Just what I have been telling you from the beginning," Jesus replied. 26, "I have much to say in judgment of you, but he who sent me is trustworthy, and what I have heard from him I tell the world." 27, they did not understand that he was telling them about his Father. 28, so Jesus said, "When you have lifted up the Son of Man, then you will know that I am he, and that I do nothing on my own, but speak just what the Father has taught me." 29, the one who sent me is with me. He has not left me alone, for I always do what he pleases, or what pleases him. 30, even as he spoke, many believed him. 31, to the Jews who had believed him, Jesus said, "If you hold to my teaching, you are really my disciples." 32, then you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. 33, they answered him, "We are Abraham's descendants and have never been slaves of anyone. How can you say that we shall be set free?" 34, Jesus replied, "Very truly I tell you, everyone who sins is a slave to sin." 35, now a slave has no permanent place in the family, but a son belongs to it forever. 36, so if the Son sets you free, you will be free indeed. 37, I know that you are Abraham's descendants, yet you are looking for a way to kill me because you have no room for my word. 38, I am telling you what I have seen in the Father's presence, and you are doing what you have heard from your father. All right, so here we are. We're listening to, and I wanted to share with you some of the conversation that Jesus had with the Pharisees that made him angry, that made them want to put the plot into motion to kill him. And so there's more to read. This part is really, really interesting, especially when you read an NIV or the ESV, which is easier for you to understand without all of that's and thous and all of those things that kind of make it confusing. But what's so interesting, and what I really wanted to convey tonight, was that when you know who you are, like Jesus did, sometimes you can get on people's nerves because people want you to appear into a box, or they want you to be from a perspective that they recognize. They want you to be in a cog in a wheel. They want you to be something they recognize. They want it to be something that they've seen before, or they want you to fit into something that they have established, and that's their expectation. That might be one of the reasons. One of the reasons could be that they want to control things. They want to control other people, and you are causing trouble. You're making people believe something differently than what has been taught before. And this is what Jesus is doing. Jesus is setting it up. He's setting it up, he's turning up, so to speak, what we might say nowadays. He's changing the rules. He's making them think that he's letting people know that they have the opportunity to have a life with Jesus, with God, and go to heaven. And some of these rules that have been set before are not one of the would not keep them from going to heaven. Like earlier, we see that Jesus has healed a person on a Sabbath day and that sort of thing. And those things are against the rules. Hanging out with people that the Pharisees don't think Jesus should be hanging out with, so to speak. Those things are against the rule. And so Jesus is changing things. He's turning the tables. I mentioned that he flipped the tables when they were doing things in the temple they shouldn't have. And so Jesus is changing people's minds. He's disrupting things. He's making people pay more attention to him and how he's instructing them than what the Pharisees would like. And so he is testifying on his own behalf. And that's another rule he's breaking. They want the rule to be that, you have to have another person speak on your behalf. He said, well, I don't have to have another person speak on my behalf, but since you're saying I do, let me tell you who is speaking on my behalf or who sent me. And that's my Father. That's God. He said, so there really are two people here. There are two witnesses here. There's me and the one who sent me, who has never left me alone. The part here I love, and I want to say again to us who sometimes feel like we are alone, is he says here in verse 16, but if I do judge, my decisions are true because I'm not alone. I stand with the Father who sent me. In your own law is written that the testimony of two witnesses is true. I am one who testifies for myself. My other witness is the Father who sent me. And then he goes on to say he's never been left alone. And I wish that I could put my finger on it because I just read it. Can't look at it right here, but I just read it about how he's never been left alone. God is always with us, with him. And that's one of the things that we also need to realize, that God is always with us and that we are never alone. So sometimes we feel like we are testifying by ourselves, but we aren't. We are testifying to God, and we're testifying on behalf of the Lord, or God has sent us to give a word. Like tonight, God has put me on earth to lift passages from the Bible and to remind people that we're not by ourselves, that we are being sent on his behalf, and that we are sons with him forever. Here's where it is. 34, Jesus replied, very truly I tell you, everyone who sins is a slave to sin. Now a slave has no permanent place in the family, but the son belongs to it forever. So as you continue to believe in God, as you continue to witness for God, to be a witness, to work in what you know he has sent you to do, you are with him forever. You are a son of God. Just like Jesus is a son of God, we are daughters and sons of God. God is our Father. And if we're working on his behalf, we are doing what he would ask us to do, and we are in the family forever. Well, that's all I want to talk to you about tonight. I've kind of gotten to the 8-minute mark. I wanted to share that with you about how Jesus irked the Pharisees and how he ended up on the cross. Have a wonderful evening, and I'll talk to you again real soon. Bye-bye.